going to put my mini pedals on my mini pedal board today and show you guys how to build your own pedal board, and I'll be using it with my ukulele. So this is a real beginner's guide as to how to build a pedal board. You may or may not have seen my other video on very cheap mini pedals. I've got a couple more and I'm going to actually attach them, put them on to power them up to a pedal board today and show you guys how to do it. It's not that difficult. So what do you actually need? Well, obviously you need pedals, and if you've got one or two, there's no harm in just plugging them in, put them on the floor and away to go. But when you've got a few, it makes sense to put them somewhere that they're going to be in the right order, they're going to be powered, and they're not sort of banging about in a bag. So, okay, this is a Blacks by Stag pedal board, mini pedal board. I quite like this one because apart from the fact it's very small, it comes in a nice case. We'll use it after, but it's wood. So my big pedal board is a normal metal slatted one, but this one I thought would be a bit different. So first thing you need, pedal board. Obviously you need your pedals. You need a way of attaching the pedals to the pedal board. In this case, we're going to be using pedal tape or velcro. You have to be able to power the pedals, and I'm keeping it really nice and simple today, and I'm using a daisy chain power supply. I actually use a block power supply on my other pedal board, and I had intended to take it off that just to try it on this one, but you'll see the picture, there we go. It was just, oh, it would have hurt to have undone all of that. So I thought, right, we'll keep it nice and simple today. So that's the power. We've got a way of connecting the pedals to each other. So I've got a variety of patch cables. And the last thing we need is a couple of guitar cables to go between our ukulele, our pedals and our amp. Right, so before I start, I'm going to clear all the decks just so we've got a bit of space. So power supply, we don't need that quite yet. Pedals, let's pop over there for a minute. Right, the actual pedal board. There is a bit of a slope to it. It comes down this way, all right, and that makes it easier then when it's on the floor for you to be able to get an angle for your foot. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to measure out and put some velcro onto the board like so. Now you can, I suppose you could do it either way. My personal preference is I like the loop side or the soft side on the board. In fact, this board came with lots of bits of connections and things. So you've got some cable ties and bits of velcro. However, what I noticed was that they'd cut out and measured for the pedals the loop side, the soft side, and measured out the hoop side to fit on the board. But my other pedal board is the opposite way round, so I'd like to, if I can, mix and match at some point. And also, if you put the loop side on the bottom of a pedal, all right, and you put it on a carpet, it's going to move around. If you put the hooky side on the bottom of the pedal, okay, and put it on a carpet, it's going to stay nice and still. All right, so that's just one little tip. So I'm going to, in a moment, measure out and cut the loop side, the softer side, to put onto the pedal board. Okay, let's have a go of that. So I'm clearing these bits out of the way for a minute. So I'm not overly measuring. I'm going to do roughly from there to there. So let's do that nice try and get it straight. Okay, like so, and then I'll just measure and do the same. Now, I actually bought this on eBay. It wasn't overly expensive. I bought way more than I needed because I thought, well, there's no harm. I may well end up doing more pedal boards. So, loop side. There we go. That could have been a touch straighter. And that one fits perfectly. I'm just going to straighten that one up for my own benefit. There we go. So they're just going to sit roughly like that, and then the pedals will attach like so. Right, now then, this board, like many others, has got slots and holes to put wiring in and out. Because of the way I'm building this, all the wiring is actually going to be on top. So I'm not worrying too much about getting cables and wires in and out of the holes. This is actually quite a wide Velcro strip. So in fact, it's going to cover the majority of the holes anyway, which that's not a problem for me. But you could, if you wanted to still use holes, either get narrower Velcro or actually cut this one up. So, right, here we go, the moment of truth. I'm gonna start at one end. So this is years and years of sticking things down in school coming now. So, first of all, I want it roughly the bottom here. And on the end, I'm feeling that. And then, so I don't get air bubbles, make sure I'm still straight. Yes, I am just carefully pulling off and pressing down as I go. There we go. First one on. That isn't going anywhere. Do the same with the second one. So I'm pulling off as I'm going. Now then, I'm just looking. Am I straight? My husband would go nuts. Measure once, cut twice. If he was here, luckily he's in work. Right, that looks better. I'm actually using the holes now as a guide to how straight I am. There we go. Okay, so first job done. Velcro on safe. Second thing now, before I put any Velcro on here, I just want to make sure everything is going to fit. So, the order of your pedals. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of websites, tutorials, YouTube videos telling you the order, okay? I've worked out the order for my pedals. In this case, it goes my distortion and overdrive first. So there is my US Dream, which is going to go on first. Then my distortion pedal. Then my phaser. Then my chorus. All right, I don't, you know, I have gone and worked these out. Then my new delay, and then lastly my reverb. Now there are different opinions online. I'm just going with what other people recommend. If I was using a tuner, that would go on first. Everything, it goes into the tuner, that's your first one. I haven't got the luxury, the space with the pedals for a tuner, so my big board's got a tuner on. This one I'll just be using a little clip on and using the pedals for effects as such. If I was using a looper, my looper would go on last. Now, one of the reasons why I'm building this board is that I will be able to mix and match. I can take things out if I want to change a sound, or if I find something that's better or more suitable. All right, so roughly at the minute, that's what we're looking at. It's going to go US Dream, which is a sort of drive pedal distortion, crunch distortion, phaser, chorus, delay, finishing with reverb, and then a wire coming out of there to go to the amp, and a wire going in to go from my ukulele. Right, so we've got the Velcro on the board. We've got to put the hooky side now onto the bottom of the pedals. Now, a lot of these pedals, these ones have got little rubber strips, the camise have. The Donna has got a sort of rubber external bit round the outside on the back, and then the Mosky has nothing. So what I don't want to do is cover the screws up if I can help it. I'm not in and out of the back of these all the time. Older, bigger pedals, often you put 9-volt batteries in. You don't with these. So it's not the end of the world if you cover up a screw, but I'm going to try and put it over the rubber bit, because I'm afraid if I only put it in the middle there, the rubber bit's going to be higher. So I'm going to try and put it over there and then another strip, but I don't want to cover the whole back. There's no point in that at all. So it's just finding the right size. So I'm going to give this one a go here and pop that there and cut a smaller bit to go across the top, which we will do now. And it's just finding the right size, really. Okay, so if that one, you can see that better, that goes there. That bit I can go like that. I can probably cut that one in half. Okay, so just make that one a little bit narrower. That looks better, so I'm not covering any screws. So I'm gonna take the backing off there, pop that on the bottom so it doesn't cover any screws up. It sort of covers the rubber bit. If I just put it on the rubber, I can pretty much guarantee that is going to come off, because Velcro, stickiness and rubber doesn't work very well. Okay, let's have a little look at that. So you can see all I've done is put the Velcro there and there at the top, and now, fingers crossed, when we put it on, it's going to be pretty stable. All right, that's not coming off there for now. All right, it will have to come off shortly, but what I'm going to do now is cut up some more bits of Velcro to fit onto the bottom of these other pedals. Back in a mo. Right, so I've got all my bits of Velcro cut up. I'm going to stick them onto the pedals now. I've purposely left this one upside down for a minute, because once you get Velcro on one side, they're a nightmare pulling on and off. You can see space is tight, all right? When you're looking at these pedals, you can't go thinking, oh, look, I can fit loads on, because these cables have got to go in between. We'll talk about those a bit more shortly, all right? So my plan is to fit 6 of these on. I may not, I may only manage to squeeze 5 on, we shall see, but then you can start to see then why I'm foregoing a tuner pedal for now. All right, so bear with me, I'm just going to put the rest of these bits of Velcro on and then we shall crack on. So that's the camise pedals done. The Donna, I'm going to put one longish strip in there because that rubber foot isn't actually very deep. So I'm hoping I can fit, you know, all these little bits that you end up with, don't throw them away. You'll be amazed how handy they are when you're doing pedals at some point. So let's just have a little look. That's too wide. So in this case, I'm just doing a little bit of a custom one here. That's going to roughly fit in the middle. It's a little bit wider than the others, so it's going to fit there, fingers crossed. Now I'm hoping, because the velcro itself is deeper, that should sit quite nicely. Yeah, and of course, because we're only putting a bit on, they're easy enough to get off. And then the last one, this one doesn't have any rubber footings on it, so I'll show you with this one what I would normally do. I would get a little strip here to put across there, so it would sit roughly like that, and another one to go across the bottom there. Sometimes the rubber feet aren't actually helpful, so that will sit there, as long as it's away from the screws. There we go. So that's gonna, I'm just checking that would fit on there. Yes, it does. Okay, so that's all of our velcroing done. I'm just gonna have a quick tidy up and then we'll move on to the wiring. Now obviously I've got them lined up at the minute, and as I mentioned a moment ago, we are going to need a bit of a gap. So all I'm going to do for a minute, I don't want to get the velcro stuck and be pulling everything at the moment. So just to have a rough idea, okay, so if I do it to the exact, that's the width of the board, we're looking at roughly doing this, you see. Now, just to give you an idea, right, for a second then, let's talk about, these are called patch cables, okay? They are basically short versions of guitar cables. That's all it is, with a right angle connector. Now, I learnt my lesson with this building my big pedal board. Lots of connectors, and they can cost really quite cheap to really expensive. All right. You get them that look like that and get them that look like that. Now, that you look at that and you think, well, that's quite similar. What you'd be surprised at is if I use one of these, how much more room they take up. All right, I'll just show you now. So if I plug the reverb and a bit springy, the delay in there, that, can you see, that has to be the gap, because that's how much those patch wires, patch cables stick out. Okay, whereas if I use these ones, I think they're called pancake because they're so flat. All right, and I pop these in, you'll see how much closer together they can get. So look, suddenly now, all right, there isn't so much of a gap, okay, when you're putting them on the board. So be aware, all right, if you've got loads of room and you've got space for gaps, that's fine. Any cable like that will work. There's another one like so that sticks out, okay. Also, they come in different lengths. This one is a 30 centimetre patch cable, whereas these ones are 15 centimetre, half the length. All right? I didn't need the length of this. Sometimes you've got to run cables underneath to other pedals, but I'm running them in the order that I want them in, so I haven't got to worry about any having any longer cables. Okay, so patch cables, but think about how much space you've got in between the pedals. Right, so it's time. I'm just double checking. So I'm doing it in what would be deemed a suitable order, but remember, go and check, all right? There are absolutely stacks of resources out there telling you the order pedals should go in. So I'm going with my US Dream, which I would describe as an overdrive pedal distortion. Then I've got a crunch distortion, which then goes into my phaser, which then goes into my chorus, which then goes into my delay, and then finally with a reverb. Now, I'm going to try and do this once and out. We'll see. So I'm actually going to stick a pedal on, then put the patch cable in and get it as close as I can, because I know I'm going to be tight for space. So we're going to start on one end. Wish me luck. This is where it could all go horribly wrong. So right on the very, very end, I'm putting my US Dream. Okay. Right, we put one patch cable in there. And then my next patch cable in here, like so. All right, now some pedals are going to be slightly different sizes. These are all mini pedals, so I'm hoping I can get it all nice and lined up. I'm not worrying too much about the cable. I'm looking at where the actual pedal is going. Okay, next up, my phaser. So I put my patch cable into this one, and this is where I'm already wondering if I'm going to have the space. Hang on, see, I've got my velcro caught now already. Oh, bear with me. See, I've got it. There we go. Right. So, worst case is I cut it down to 5 pedals, but I'll be gutted. So there's a phaser with the wiring in. Next up, and I am using these are Donna. They're not that expensive, but then I'm trying to build a budget pedal board to start with. Let's see, so we go in phaser into chorus, like so, trying to get it in. I am looking to see these are all lining up roughly. So far, so good. Okay, so we've got our Donna delay. I will do a separate video on the delay and on the reverb like I did with the Camise one, so you get a full idea of all the different settings. So chorus going into the delay, like, oh, we're looking good, we're looking good. And I didn't know if this would all fit until I did this job now. So that's in like so. Oh, good. Right, and the last one, the delay to go into the reverb. Oh yes, it's a winner. No, it's not. It is. I've gone too high. My brain wouldn't be able to cope with that, so I'm going to bring it down a little bit, bring it in line. There we go. So you can take them off. They're just a bit sticky once they're on with the Velcro. Right, so how are we looking? I'm quite pleased with that. They're all on. They're all, all right. They're not coming off there now. Okay. So that's what the pedal board is looking like at the moment, but obviously we've got no power to it. So that's the next job. Right, so the last job we've really got to do before we actually use and try out the pedals and make sure they're all working is to add a power supply to them. Now, as I said at the beginning, I was hoping to take my power block off my other pedal, but I just couldn't face it when I saw all the wires. This is a really simple choice. It's probably not going to be my long-term choice, because what I would actually like to do at some point is get a little power block and fit it actually underneath. All right, there is room under there. You can't see that, can you? Under there to do it. Okay, but for now I'm just going with the simplest method of doing this. So it's what's called a daisy chain power supply. it's a rabbit hole. Once you start going down it with pedals, you're gonna find out a lot more. I'm just doing the absolute most basic version of something today. All right, so the way I'm going to do this, before I actually plug it in, there are, as you can see, lots, it's like Christmas tree lights, lots of different power plugs coming off that. So I'm literally just going to plug each one in the back. All right. So, as you can see there now, that's the power, all like so. And I've just got my one plug. Okay. So, let's plug it in and keep everything crossed. No lights at the minute because they're not switched on. There we go. Just checking they've all got power going to them. Yep. There we go. Right. The last job, plugging a uke in and seeing what it sounds like. Right, so the blue cable, normal guitar cable, is going into the last pedal in the chain there. That is running into my amp, which I've got mic'd up. And then this other cable is going to go, it's a right angle cable. It doesn't make any difference whether it's straight or right. In this case, I'm going to pop this end into the first pedal in the chain, and this bit's going to go into my ukulele. Okay, now of course my amp is switched off at the minute. You don't want to be plugging and plugging pedals or ukuleles or anything else when your amp is switched on. Okay, so nothing, amp switched off. Amp switched on, but of course pedals are switched off. Keep everything crossed. Reverb's working. Delay. Delay is working. Chorus. Chorus is working. Phaser. Now you can just hear the phaser kicking in and out, but it's a lot less now it's in a chain of other signals. So phaser working. Distortion. I'm going to turn these down. I was messing with these. I was right about the gain and volume. I'll talk about that in another video. But on the Camise Crunch Distortion, the volume is actually the gain, and the gain is actually the volume. Okay? Be prepared for some feedback. I'll just turn the volume down a little bit and the gain up a little bit. Crunch distortion working, and the US Dream distortion, sort of overdrive. So all the pedals are working individually. I'll just give you a little run through in a moment of a few combinations of them, but the whole idea of this pedal board now, it isn't going to stay like this forever and ever. I want to try in and out different effects. I might get, I don't know, a different delay pedal and try that, see which works. So my UFX or Ukulele Effects board hopefully is going to evolve over time, but it's given you a very rough idea today about how to build your own pedal board. Right, so a little play of it. So, I'm sure some of you are going to ask straight away, which are the most important? It's entirely up to you what sounds you're looking for. I love reverb. Now, you can buy amps with reverb on, so if you've got an amp with reverb and you're happy with that, you don't necessarily need to use up the space on your pedal board. My amp hasn't got reverb, or the one I'm using, so I'm going to put some reverb on. Remember to check reverb. Okay. Now then, this is my new delay pedal, which I haven't had a massive play around with yet, but I am loving the sounds of it so far. So that's reverb and delay. Let's try a little bit of overdrive. Now, if I had to choose 3 pedals, I would probably choose reverb, delay and overdrive as a starter. All right, that's certainly what I did on my first pedal board. So without overdrive. I love that combination of pedals. Okay, let's turn the overdrive off for a minute. A bit of chorus. So I've just turned the depth down a little bit. Now the phaser, you hear it kicking in and out a little bit. Okay, it was a lot worse than that when it was just by itself. Oh, hang on. Oh, that works. You know, that's that little bit of George Ezra. I was trying to get that sound on my other pedal board, so a little bit lower on the rate, a little bit more depth. Let's go with a bit of distortion. We may have a bit of feedback. I can't explain how loud that actually is in the room. Oh, it sounds fantastic. Right, I've got to say, I'm enjoying this so far. Let's just try a little bit of chorus with a little bit of overdrive. So there we go, UFX, Ukulele Effect, mini pedals on a mini board for a mini instrument. So there we go, I'm really pleased with the way that has come out, I've got to say, and I've had some brilliant fun doing it. So I'm just gonna literally unplug the power, like so. Just to give you a rough idea, my main big pedal board, as I mentioned previously, I looked at some of the top uke players to see what pedals they were using and sort of roughly based my pedal board around theirs, and it was very expensive. It took me a long while to build. Rough idea with this, the Camise pedals, all 4 of them came to £60. I go through individual prices in the Camise pedal video. The Donna delay, it's a digital delay. I fancied trying a digital because I got an analog delay on my other pedal board. That was the most expensive pedal, that was £30. And the Mosky Reverb, Spring Reverb, again £20 or under. Alright, so the pedals themselves, cheap as chips. They really are the cheapest pedals you can get. The pedal board was probably the most expensive item. That was £52. You can get cheaper pedal boards. You can make your own. Go and have a little look, put in DIY pedal board, but you're going down a really risky avenue, okay? You'll end up building all sorts. The power cable was under a tenner for a daisy chain. And the actual patch cables, they are the cheapest ones. So all told, I reckon this board has cost about £160, £170. That's a lot of money. But in pedal board world, it really isn't, okay? And as I said, this is going to be an ongoing project now. I'm going to see what I really like. What I may swap things in and out. I may get rid of some, who knows, alright? But it's certainly going to be an ongoing project, so look out for UFX. So there's only one job left to do now, is to put my lovely new mini UFX dream board away. You know, if you're going to uke club or you're going out, you've got a gig, it is handy to have a bag to pop it all in. This Stag, it was £52, the pedal board, but the case it comes with, I've got to say, I was very, very pleasantly surprised. It's an excellent quality case. I've probably got, oh look at that, looks quite nice, doesn't it? I can probably get any guitar cables I need to in the top there. That zips up lovely. I've got my power cable all in there as well. So yeah, dinky little pedal board. I do hope you've enjoyed that. I really have thoroughly enjoyed making it. But I've definitely gone down the rabbit hole of pedal boards. It's a very interesting world. I'm no expert. If you're thinking about getting a pedal board and building it, do a bit of research, check out the order of the pedals, but really all you actually need are a few patch cables, a pedal board, some pedals, and something to power it. So there we go. I really do hope you've enjoyed. You know what to do. Leave a comment if you've got one or question. Give us a like if you've enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe. There's going to be plenty more videos coming about effects pedals. And thank you for watching.